I quit drinking at the start of the year. I haven't drank or done anything all year.
So it's only been since the beginning of this year?
Since the beginning of this
yeah,
year,
yeah.
I've taken it really, really serious. Put all my energy into training and fighting, and then to lose by the better man on the night, not to get knocked out by a lucky punch, to actually just get beaten.
Yeah.
It hit hard, bro. Like, it hit really hard.
I hear that, bro. Yeah.
And then I just had to take a step back, assess what I was doing wrong, and where I could learn from it.
Hey legends, welcome to another episode of the Interchange Podcast, and I have an absolute cracker of an episode here for you today. But before we go any further, I do have a very small favor to ask, and that's if you haven't already and you've been enjoying the content, can you please go and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to show this to one of your friends, because as you know, the more eyes and ears we can get on this show, the bigger and better guests I can bring for you, and in turn, the more value I'm going to be able to deliver. But as I said, we've got a cracker of an episode because I'm joined by the one and only James Honey, who is number 5 in the world for Muay Thai. Not only that, he is number 1 in Australia. Now, it hasn't been an easy road for James because he is coming off the back of a lost streak before jumping in the ring with not only one opponent, but 2 in the one night to come out on top, to now be, like I said, ranked number 5 in the world. So we have a great chat about his mindset and what it took for him to get to where he is today. And so I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you over in the episode in a second. Thanks for coming out, brother. I really appreciate it, man. You're definitely looking a lot better than I saw you a few weeks ago, rocking the double raccoon.
For sure. I've a couple times this year already, I've had 2 black eyes, and it's the worst when I go into work, especially because I lost that second last fight.
Yeah.
Had 2 black eyes, and everyone going, "Oh, how'd you go?" Mate, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
After the last one, everyone's like, "How'd you go?" I'm like, I won 2 fights, so it was all right looking like that. But
man, how was it going into that, I guess, double eliminator, bro? That was hectic. So
yeah.
Even just prepping for one fight in a night, like, obviously I've had a couple of fights now as well, but Muay Thai is just a different kettle of fish altogether, bro. You've got all the moving parts, you got the knees, you got the elbows, you got everything going on, man.
For sure.
How do you prep yourself to have 2 fights in one night, man? That's crazy.
Yeah, so to be honest, prep was the exact same as I usually prep for a normal fight. But obviously you have to mentally prepare for 2 fights.
Yeah, a couple of extra wheat bix that day, right?
Yeah, a couple of extra wheat bix, a bit of extra protein.
Yeah.
But the mental side of things is where I really focus on rather than the physical. The physical stays the same. I'm always fit.
Yeah.
Always going to a fight. I'm fit, I'm strong, I'm ready to go. But the mental side, so you have to prepare for whatever to happen. And coming up to
anything could happen.
Anything can happen. Right? You can get, like, for example, the guy that I fought in the second fight got cut. Yeah, so I don't know how he mentally prepared, but he had to prepare for that before the fight. Yeah. And I hope he did, because I know I did.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't get cut in the first fight, but I prepared to get cut. I prepared to go into that second fight injured, battered, and then still put on a good performance. But I fought smart in the first fight.
I watched that first fight, man. You were looking on, bro.
Yeah, and I got out of it pretty unscathed, and didn't cruise through. I just did enough to win. Yeah, I just thought I'd be smart. I felt like I had the advantage in that first fight.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to push the pace anymore and get caught with something, or especially an elbow. Yeah. And then if you watch the first fight of David, that's the guy that I fought in the final.
Jay Tompkins.
Yeah, bro, it was a war. Good ornaments for entertainment, but if you wanted to fight smart, especially in a 4-man.
Oh, man, that was a good fight to watch.
It's a great fight to watch.
I guess you were probably hoping for that Jay Tompkins fight, right?
Yeah, I was hoping for Jay. But also, David and I were meant to fight 2 years ago, and we weighed in, and then on the day of the fight, COVID, snap lockdown.
No way.
I was sitting out for breakfast.
So that had been a long time coming.
Yeah,
as well.
bro, that's been a long. So either way, I was happy.
Yeah, sick.
I wanted the rematch with Jay. I wanted to fight David. So yeah, I didn't care. But yeah, it was crazy. The day of the weigh-in, I was sitting out for breakfast with my missus and my mate and his missus. Boom, get a message. I got a call. Snap lockdown. Show's off. I'm like, you're kidding.
All the prep
all the prep. Weighed in, cut weight, refueled. Yeah. It was tough.
One of those things, but hey, it's all part of the sport, right?
All part of the sport, bro.
So when did you start fighting?
I started when I was 15. I had my first fight when I was 15. I started training when I was 14.
Okay.
Like at the end of the year when I was 14, I started training, but it was MMA.
And what was your why behind fighting? Was there something that happened at school? Was there something that happened in your childhood?
Nothing really happened like that. I just, I used to watch UFC when I was young from like 12, 13, 14, back in the day, and I used to love it. Like I used to, stay up late watching it all night, and I'm like, I want to do this. And when I was young, I used to race BMX competitive.
Yeah.
And I'd always do that. That was my sport. And then I started watching UFC, and I'm like, I'm going to start training. And that's why I started training, because I wanted to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
And I quit racing BMX when I was young, and then I went to an MMA gym, did my first session, and loved it.
Where was your first session at? Where was your first MMA gym?
Kaizen Dojos. That in Shepparton, so in Victoria, and that shout out to them, because that's that I had my first few fights out of them, and that's who really started me in that sport, and that's where I met one of my best mates, and he took me under his wing and ended up taking me to Melbourne. But I had that first MMA, loved MMA, had that first MMA fight, and while I was doing MMA, I started training Muay Thai.
Yeah, was that just to work on like your leg game?
Yeah, just to make my striking better in general.
Yeah.
And then as I progressed in the MMA, I was getting better at Muay Thai. Yeah, and I started to fall in love with it. Started watching fights on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
And then I had the MMA fight, and it went the distance. I lost on points, and then I said, I'm going to go to Muay Thai.
That'll do me.
Yeah, and I never grappled since.
Yeah.
I have not done, like, I've messed around with mates since then,
Yeah,
I have not rolled.
BSD,
For heaps of times. But I have not rolled properly since I was 14. And then started training Muay Thai full time. Fell in love with it. Had my first Muay Thai fight when I was 15, and never looked back.
Yeah. And how old are you now?
27.
How many professional fights down?
I haven't counted my record after the last fight. Maybe 41
Jesus.
Pro fights.
So a couple times in there.
Couple times in there,
Awesome, brother.
Yeah.
Now, what is the difference between, I guess, Muay Thai and traditional kickboxing? Because I hear people say kickboxing, I hear people say Muay Thai. What's the difference between the two?
So Muay Thai is my favorite, my preferred sport. Punches, kicks, knees, and elbows, and you can also clinch. Yeah, and you can sweep them. Kickboxing.
I've seen you do a few sweeps, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I love sweeps. So kickboxing, traditional kickboxing is just kick and punch. Yeah, just kickboxing. Now there's K1. K1's been around for ages, but K1, you can knee.
Yeah.
You can catch the kick and punch straight away.
Yeah.
But you still can't sweep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like a hybrid between Muay Thai
like a hybrid.
and kickboxing.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid. It's for people that don't want to get elbowed. Pretty much, or learn how to clinch. Like some of the best strikers in the world are kickboxers. Don't fight Muay Thai. Yeah, they don't know how to clinch. They don't know how to elbow.
Yeah. Cool. And I've seen that elbow of yours come out a few times in that last.
Yeah, for
Actually,
sure.
I only saw the second last fight before you had the one with David.
Yeah, for sure.
And that thing was effective. As for you, bro.
Yeah. That like boxing and elbows have always been my favorite, and they always will be.
Yeah.
It's always been my go-to. It's only just sort of recently, the last couple of years, I've been starting to kick a bit more in my fights. But punches and elbows, they're my favorite.
For sure, man. Now, that last fight you had, so the double man eliminator, that was a massive pivotal moment for you in your career.
Massive.
So your ranking alone was like from 18 in the world.
I went from 19 in the world to number 5.
Which is fucking crazy.
Which is crazy.
And that puts you at number 1 in Australia, right?
Number 1 in Australia, yeah. So I'm pumped about that. I've always believed I was that ranking anyway, you know what I mean? You have to have that self-belief.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in the rankings. But I've always known that I can beat the top boys in the world. And then I said in the post-fight speech, I finally proved it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and David are meant to fight for ages, but I feel like if it was anyone in that top 10, I'd be happy to fight any of them.
Yeah.
Any of them, yeah.
Cool. So who's next on the cards for you? We're talking about this off air, but...
Yeah. I can't say.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't announce it just yet
gotcha.
because I haven't even signed the contract yet. But it is locked in.
Yeah.
Just got to wait for the contract to come through. But that's a massive fight. It's against a former WBC world champion.
Yeah.
So that's a huge fight.
That will be huge.
Yeah, and he's based. He's been based in Thailand for ages, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
So he's a top. Like that fight could be for a world title. It's not, unfortunately, but it definitely could be.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah.
So previous to this double man eliminator role, you're coming off the back end of a loss.
Yeah.
How was that for you? And I guess, was the mental prep for you different coming into this next fight?
For sure.
Yeah.
I lost against Jay, and I wanted to beat Jay more than anything because our first fight was very controversial. I thought I won. A lot of people thought I won. The judges gave it to Jay, which is fine, but I still watch it back today and I'm like, wow, I still think I won that.
Kicking the guts, eh?
And then the second fight, he beat me clear as day, I think. Yeah, like it was still an okay fight, but he dropped me. It was a clear win for Jay. And after that, I felt so lost. Yeah, I've worked so hard all year. I quit drinking at the start of the year. I haven't drank or done anything all year.
So it's only been since the beginning of this year?
Since the beginning of this year, yeah. I've taken it really, really serious. Put all my energy into training and fighting, and then to lose by the better man on the night, not to get knocked out by a lucky punch, to actually just get beaten.
Yeah.
It hit hard, bro. Like, it hit really hard.
I hear that, bro. Yeah.
And then I just had to take a step back, assess what I was doing wrong and where I could learn from it. And I put it down to a couple of things. So I was overtraining, for one.
So like almost under-recovered, right?
Under-recovered.
Yeah.
I was training 7 days a week, twice a day, every day, even Sundays. I was doing big sessions. I was thinking the more I do, the better I'll be. To be honest, David Goggins got in my head.
But that's a common misconception, right?
Yeah, bro.
Especially when it comes to like performance sports and like runners and all that sort of stuff, like athletes.
Yeah.
A lot of them have this misconception that the more they do, the better it's going to be.
Exactly.
But there is such a need for recovery.
There's such a need for recovery.
Yeah, and I can attest to that, man. Like, I fucked myself up last year. I did a couple of marathons. I had a couple of fights.
I remember we spoke about this.
Smashed my test. Like, my test dropped. And I mean, for lack of a better way of putting it, my dick stopped working.
Mate, I can relate to that.
Yeah, bro. This is all from stress, right? Stress-related injury, stress-related hormone issues.
For sure.
So stress and management is such a, I guess, key thing to look at when it
100%.
comes to, I guess, especially when you come to an athlete. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And a male without testosterone, mate, like a dog with two legs. You know? Like, you must have testosterone running through your body. You need it.
Yeah.
And that overtraining, that was the biggest thing. Yeah. So I pulled back on my training. I still train hard, but I'd have high, low days. So one day I'd train twice a day. The next day I'd just train once. The next day I'd train twice a day. Then the following one I'd train once. And that's how it'd be. And then I'd lead up to sparring. Rather than being completely cooked, and by the time I get to sparring, I have nothing to give. And then I'd try and get another session out that night after sparring. There was just no need for it.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, I just wasn't sparring enough, because coming back from injury, I was really worried about getting hurt again.
With your shoulder?
With my ankle, because I broke my ankle twice.
Yeah.
And then coming back from injury, I was just worried about getting hurt. And then, so I started sparring a bit shit.
Yeah.
I started sparring less rounds. I could only spar like, say, 10 rounds. I'd be like, all right, that's me, I'm done.
Yeah.
Where usually I'd spar 20 or so rounds and I wouldn't worry about that. So then this camp, I just dialed everything back down. Yeah, still had heaps of intensity in my sessions, but just not as often. And then sparred way more and, a lot harder too this round.
Well, I think that's it, right? Especially with fighting, you've got to be in there doing the work, right?
For sure.
Like, and when it comes down to it, you can do bag work, you can as much as you want.
It's not the same.
Like getting, another body in front of you to actually have a move around with is completely different.
For sure. Right? And I think it showed a lot in my last two fights, because my eye was back, my timing was back. Yeah.
Oh, man, that first fight, because I'm going to own it, bro. I went to bed.
Yeah.
It was late night, dude.
It was late, bro.
I had to be up at I think 4:45.
You're not the only one. I've spoken to heaps of people. They went to bed as well.
I felt so bad about that. And then I saw all the highlights. I'm pretty sure I messaged you. It was like 4:40 in the morning. You still hadn't slept because you were on a massive high.
Hey, I hadn't slept. I remember texting you.
Bro.
I was laying in bed counting sheep,
I'm like,
bro.
what are you doing awake? You're like, I haven't slept, bro. I'm like, and you got the win, you fucking mad.
Yeah. Haven't slept, and I wasn't even drinking nothing. I was
bro.
I got home and I just wanted to ride that high as much as I could.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I was on cloud 9, and then went to bed because I didn't get home till maybe 2 a.m. After the fights. I got stitched up at the fights, and then we watched the fight back when I got home, and then I was still buzzing, and I got to bed at maybe 3. Just laid there.
Yeah, just watching four corners.
Yeah, bro. I tried to count sheep.
Yeah.
It's not working. Tried everything. No. Yeah. All right. And then I fell asleep for 2 hours, got up and just went about my day.
You would have been buzzing.
I was buzzing all day. Yeah, it was the best.
That's such
it was unreal.
Right? So for someone out there that might be struggling with, I guess, a little bit of self-confidence or even, jumping in the ring for the first time, what would be a piece of advice or something that you'd say to them?
So no matter what you're feeling, especially self-confidence coming up to a fight, you just got to believe in your training, believe in your trainer as well, because hopefully your trainer's fought before. If they haven't, maybe look to go somewhere else. But,
that might be an idea.
But believe in your trainer. They've done it before, and they'll guide you into the ring yourself. And so far as confidence, you just got to put the work in. If you put the work in, I feel like that builds confidence, especially for fighting. Like if you half-ass your training, you miss your run, You miss your meals. You come into the fight and you go, oh, I could have ran that day. I could have done that session. Could have ate right the whole way coming up to it. And that's the biggest thing, accountability, yeah? So hard training sessions, that's going to build your confidence up coming into the ring. By the time you step over the ropes, you don't want any second guessing. Yeah, it should all be done.
Yeah, all the hard work's done. Just going.
All the hard work's done. Yeah, the fight's the easy part physically. Yeah, it's mentally it's harder, but physically it's heaps easier.
And prior to, I guess, being in the ring for you, so this would be like 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
Have you noticed now that, I guess, the discipline and everything that you get from fighting is carried over into other areas of your life as well?
100%. Yeah. Like, to be fair, I was a little shit when I was young. To be fair, I was a little shit until I was a couple of years ago. but
you know, bro.
yeah. But you got to learn from that stuff, you know what I mean? But as a kid, 15, 16, 17, I was still running amok. I was being an idiot and then still fighting. I wasn't taking it that serious. And if I did, it would have propelled my career to where it is now way sooner. You know what I mean? But
you guys got guys like Jaden who just gave up so much.
Yeah, bro.
Literally gave up life pretty much.
He gave up life. Like,
but he loves it. He fucking lives it.
He loves it. Yeah. He lives it. And you can tell by looking at his body, he doesn't even miss a meal ever, bro. But yeah, like I definitely used to take it as not take the piss, but I put in the work when I was young. Yeah. And then I sort of got the ability, and then I'd sort of play up and I'd have one fight. And then I wouldn't train for ages. And then it wasn't until I moved to the Gold Coast where I was like, I really want to focus on Muay Thai 5 years ago, where my career really started taking off because I started taking it serious. Yeah. Started putting in the work every day. Yeah. And definitely stopped drinking as much. Now I don't drink at all, and just really focused on Muay Thai, and that's it.
So what have been the biggest shifts that you've noticed just in yourself when it comes to like mindset, mentality, all that sort of stuff since, I guess, really taking your fighting seriously? What have been the biggest things that you've taken out of that?
Yeah, so how I feel every day, like just feeling good every day, being able to recover more, being able to focus on training and just getting through the hard sessions as much as I can. Like when I'd party after a fight or whatnot, you're just pulling yourself back after each fight. You know what I mean? Like you train so hard and you put so much discipline into camp, and then you fight, and then you're like, oh, I'll start drinking. Yeah, one weekend turns into two turns into three. Then you're struggling to go back to training. By the time you go back to training, it's hard, and then you're starting from scratch again. And that's the reason why I stopped drinking, because now I fight, I have a couple of days rest, straight back to training. I can just level up again. Mentally and physically. Keep leveling up. So I love it.
I had a very similar experience with that, right? So I used to go down and do like a seminar for health and fitness in Melbourne, like once a year, right?
Yeah, nice.
And I remember going down there and like you get all these brain gains, learn all about the human body, learn all this stuff that we can then apply with clients and that sort of stuff. And I remember one time I went down there, I came straight back, and I had a friend of mine, it was their 30th at the Q1 Penthouse.
Yeah, right. Would have been fun.
It was, it was debauchery.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I remember I literally flew straight back in and then went straight to that party. And pretty much that whole week's worth of content, gone. You know, and I feel like it'd probably be similar. You know, you've done all that prep work for a fight. You've got yourself to the best you could possibly be, and you're going to throw it all in the bin just for a fucking couple of drinks. It's not worth it.
Makes no sense. And would have been the same for you. As you drink, what I've noticed the most since I've stopped drinking as much, you can retain information a lot easier.
Massively.
Yeah, like so much more. Yeah. And it's the same with training. Like you can retain everything that you learn, take it in, and then apply it in your sessions.
Yeah.
So that's probably been the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So next on the cards, world title you're hoping for? Well, not next fight, but that's what
that's the end goal. Yeah. I really I never really had a goal for Muay Thai.
Okay. When did the big goal come into play then?
Maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years ago. I've always just loved fighting, and I loved pushing myself and seeing how much better I can push, and how much better I can make myself as a person and a fighter. And then I sort of stopped and thought, what am I doing? Like I'm just fighting, and I'm not really focusing on an end goal. And then when I started to focus on becoming world champion, I started taking it a lot more serious.
Yeah. Bro.
Started getting better fights.
Was this when it started to actually really occur to you that this was a possibility for you?
Yeah, for sure. And like you start seeing people around you become world champions as well. Like Chad's 2-time world champion from my gym. Jaden's world champion.
Yeah.
You just start seeing that it is possible to get to that highest level, you know what I mean? And like you see Jai, for example, in Wicked Bods.
Yeah, bro.
Like he's the world champion he's the ring world champion, man. Like that's the best of the best.
Yeah.
And when you surround yourself with people like that, you strive to be like that, you know what I mean? So having that end goal just makes you push more and more and more. And I've had it written down on next to my bed all day. We were talking about it earlier. Yeah, you will be world champion. And I read that stuff every day. Yeah, I tell myself every day.
Your brain is what you'll obviously become, right?
100%.
I think a big thing that I just took from that there that you said is, and this is something that's come up for myself and also a lot of other guests I've had on the podcast, is your environment.
Oh, bro.
Right? The environment that you put yourself in is what you become. And by surrounding yourselves with, like you said, world champs and all these fighters that are absolutely killing it at the game,
for sure,
you've started to level up yourself.
100%. And it's not even that, like... It's who I surround myself with every day. For example, you come to Wicked Bods,
bro, right? Yeah.
Everybody at Wicked Bods is striving to better themselves.
That's the one thing I do love about that gym is you go and jump in on a session and there's no one half-assing it.
No one's half-assing it.
They're all there killing it.
Yeah, for sure. And like, nothing to take away, because some of my best mates are still concreters. But when I was concreting, you go to work, everyone's so negative, bro. Like
environment, bro.
The environment, you go to work and I can't wait to finish. Oh, fuck this, fuck that. Yeah. Oh, this is shit. I hate my life. And I was like, I started doing it as well. I'd be like, I can't wait to this to finish. And then you take it home. Start to be negative at home as well. Mm-hmm. Ever since I started working at Wicked Bods and started being a PT full time, my life has changed dramatically, because I surround myself with Mark, James, Haley, Bodie, like constantly with them people.
You live and breathe that shit now.
Live and breathe it, yeah. And then when I go to my Muay Thai gym, everybody's striving to be better, Nobody's going there to get shitter. There's no way. You know what I mean? So
it's true.
You're constantly surrounding yourself around people that are positive and people that are trying to better themselves. And I feel like that's the key to life.
100%, bro. Like that's like you said, look around at the 5 people closest to you.
Exactly.
And that's who you are.
Exactly. And I've tried to cut a lot of things out, especially this year, that don't align with my goals. And it's nothing against anybody if I don't see them as much as I used to, but it's just I'm trying to chase that goal of the world champion.
How many times have you been told that you've changed by mates?
Heaps.
Isn't that the most like humbling thing?
I
love
it.
I have. That's
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it, especially after a fight, because back in the day, not even that long ago, if I fought, it was a party after.
The boys
for sure.
looking forward to it. Like,
looking forward to celebrate.
Fighting, we're getting on the honey
for sure. And then this year, I had a penthouse at the casino for after that casino fight. Yeah. And all my mates were up from Vic and they were all up in the room and I'm like, I'm going to bed soon, boys. And they're like, no way. I'm like, I'm serious. I'm not drinking. I'm going to bed soon. Yeah. And then it got to a certain time. I ordered room service, had a mad feed. And I'm like, all right, you've got to go. I'm going to bed. And then they sort of looked at me like, are you joking or what? And I'm like, no, I'm being serious, bro. I'll see you in the morning. Yeah. And I woke up feeling good. Yeah. Went for breakfast and that's just how my life is now. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Bro.
Yeah.
So we've spoken to James the fighter, but who is James outside the ring?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right? That's a good question because
I might have actually just seen recently that you got engaged.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, got engaged to my girlfriend Maddie, or my fiance Maddie now.
Your fiance now.
Yeah, I still call her my girlfriend, and she's like, "I'm your fiance now."
It's a big change, right?
Big change, but we've been together for 8 years.
Yeah.
And she was my first ever girlfriend, like in kindergarten.
Really?
Spin out, yeah.
Bro, tell me more about that.
So, like, we went to kindergarten together, and I still remember this. I have a shock memory, but I still remember. I used to go to her house. She used to come to mine. She was my first kiss.
Yeah.
And then we went to primary school together. I think we were boyfriend and girlfriend a little bit in primary school, but not that much.
Yeah.
And then
as you do when you're in primary school.
Yeah. And then we went to high school, different high schools.
Yeah.
Didn't speak to her. She reckoned she hated me. I don't know about that, but I didn't do anything to it.
You too much.
Yeah. And then maybe, I think I was 19. Yeah, I would have been 19. We started seeing each other again. And then never left.
Rest is history.
Rest is history.
So you guys rekindled back down when you were in Melbourne?
Yeah, in Shepparton. In Shepparton, yeah. So Shepparton's a really small town. Like, we've always known each other. Our families have always known each other.
Yeah.
And then we just got chatting online one day, and the rest is history.
So how do you fit in, I guess, having a girlfriend or having a fiance, sorry?
Yeah.
You know, you're fighting, you're training, obviously running PT clients as well, and everything else you do in your life, because you got to have time for you as well, right?
Yeah, that's another big thing about how we're talking about how testosterone as well. Like, you've got to really manage your time and your recovery, because you don't get much time to yourself. And like, Maddie's really, she's really good with my training. Like, she never complains that I'm spending too much time in the gym or anything like that. Yeah. She's got the same vision as I do. She wants to see me be world champion as well. So that's the best. But you've got to take time for yourself. And a lot of the time is, I just spend by myself. Like, I love my alone time. And when I'm not working, when I'm not training, I'll just be on the couch, relaxing with my dog. Sitting at home. And I try to force myself to at least have one day where I just stay at home. I don't do anything. I don't go see anybody. I just stay at home, get ready for the week ahead. Yeah. Because if you don't, like, for example, at the start of the year when I was training 7 days a week, I was still going out seeing friends. I was doing this, and I didn't really have any time for myself. You just burn out.
Yeah. Is that something you struggle with, is being alone, like spending time with yourself, or is that something you actually really become comfortable with?
I love it. I love being by myself. And I say it to Maddie as well, and she's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm like, no, I feel like everybody should be happy with themselves. Yeah, man. So then you can be happier with your partner.
100%.
Yeah. If you're not happy with yourself, you will never be happy with someone else, even in friend groups, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you've got to find acceptance within yourself.
Was that a journey for you, finding that acceptance, or is that something you've always done? Always had, I guess, the love for yourself?
It's a good question. I've always sort of enjoyed my alone time, but I'd always surround myself with people. Like, I was the same. Yeah,
I was the same, bro.
For sure. I'd constantly be with friends. I'd constantly be doing this, constantly be doing that. And I'd never really spend much time by myself. And it's not that I didn't want to be by myself. I just thought, I'll go hang out with people. I'll go do this. Yeah. Go do that. Go keep my mind busy.
Yeah, that's it, right? Keeping the mind busy.
Keep the mind busy. Yeah, distraction. And mate, I mean, some of my best memories doing that sort of stuff. Yeah. But these days, I love spending alone time. Like Maddie, she works nights a lot. Yeah. So sometimes I'm just at home by myself after training, and I love it. Yeah, it's the best.
Time to wind down.
Especially
taking a couple of punches in the face.
That's it, bro. That's it. Like, when I know I have nothing on a Sunday, I love doing nothing, sitting at home watching UFC. Yeah. And just chilling. Yeah, with Maddie, with my dog. It's the best.
I think that's the best way to recharge. Like, I've found as of late, I've had weekends where I'm doing nothing and weekends where I'm doing heaps.
Yeah.
And the weekends where I'm doing heaps, I'm not drinking or taking drugs like I used to, right?
Yeah.
But still on a Monday, Tuesday, it gets to like 10 o'clock because I'm sitting in front of the bloody computer.
Bro.
I'm fucking brain dead, man.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I need to have that time to recover, and it's so important to have that time for ourselves, right?
Yeah, 100%.
To give us what we need.
Especially when you work a busy job, like, and you train as well, like, you need that time to just recover. Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a big thing as well. Like, as you know, being a PT yourself, you've got to give so much energy into other people. So when you're like in a fight camp, it's almost like you're not 100% yourself for those clients. So your clients are pretty understanding, right?
For sure. And my clients now, I've been with them for maybe the last 2 years now, so they know how I am, and I've been in a lot of fight camps with them, and they know when it's coming up to fight week. They don't argue. They don't say anything back to me.
I'll do the extra 6 reps.
And it's funny, like, they were calling me 2,000 calorie James last time because I was just shitty all week. But
shit, you had high calories for a fucking fight camp.
Yeah, bro. I eat high calories. I eat high calories.
But you do the extra cardio to work it
off. Do the extra cardio. Like, in fight camp, I'll be 3,000. Yeah. Because I train twice a day every day.
Yeah.
And then coming up to fight camp, I'll drop it down. To fight week, I'll drop it down to about 2,500 the week before fight week, and then fight week's about 2,100. Yeah. So, but it's that energy you put out to your clients. It's I shouldn't say draining, but it does zap your energy as well. You know what I mean?
This is the thing. We're like energetical beings. We take on their energy, they take on your energy. 100%. And it just all becomes this mishmash of just like,
for sure,
I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah,
feed me, and then it's like, James, just love us, please.
Yeah, just love us. I love us. Yeah, it's good to have understandable clients.
100%, man.
Yeah.
So, world titles. You just put you on next. Yeah. Getting married eventually.
Yeah.
What else on the cards for the future for you, bro?
For the future, apart from that, I'm not too sure. Just keep grinding. Like, obviously, I want to win the world title.
Yep.
Once I win a world title, I'd like to win the WBC world title as well because I want to win the WMC and the WBC.
So there's two different councils for
Yeah,
Muay Thai?
so same as boxing, there's like the WBC, WBO, IBF.
IBF, yeah.
Just different sanctioning bodies. There's probably, I would say, three main ones in Muay Thai. There's WBC, WMC, and WMO. They're probably the main ones. So if I could win all three,
A belt in each one?
laughing, yeah. But then, yeah, Maddie and I will go and elope somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So no big wedding?
No big wedding.
Bro, I love that idea. Just go to some tropical
No
destination.
big wedding.
Elope.
Yeah. I said there was part of the deal. Not a deal, but I've always
I'm only putting that ring on your finger if.
yeah, I've always said because Maddie's Macedonian Italian.
So she wants a massive wedding?
Big wedding. Yeah, bro. And I said, if we'll elope somewhere. If
Did you get that in writing first?
No, I shouldn't. She's on the boat now. For sure. But then after that, I would love to get signed to one championship as well. Like I feel like that's where the best fighters in the world are at the moment.
Championship?
One championship. Yeah. So that's like it's actually gets more views and stuff than the UFC.
Really?
Yeah, but it's all in Asia. So it's mostly in Singapore, their big show.
Is that where I saw Chad fighting the other day?
Nah, he hasn't fought on one. He was fighting in Japan.
Japan, yeah.
Yeah, Japan, which is a massive promotion as well.
Yeah.
But one championship is huge. They do MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai. They do submission grappling and stuff. But that's where the best fighters in the world are. So if I can get to that one day, that would be the best.
Yeah.
I actually fought Brown Penis. I don't know if you remember when I fought him. He was a one championship fighter, and I fought him and beat him. And I was sort of hoping that was my way in, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So how does that work? Okay, so getting on like a big show like that, do you put the work in with the promoters, or do you have to be in contact with them, or they have to scope you?
I feel like they will be watching the talent, yeah, because all the world champions end up getting signed. You know what I mean? And they sort of scout once you've done won a world title, they sort of scout you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they obviously watch the Muay Thai game for sure. The owner of it is actually Thai himself.
Yeah. Okay.
So they'll be watching. So if I just keep putting in good performances, keep building, fight the best there is, they have to see me one day.
Yeah.
And then that would be the end goal. Yeah.
So now you've been almost abstained from alcohol for most of the year. So
yeah, all year.
Stop drinking. Did you actually have the date?
It was New Year's Eve. I had one cocktail.
So you haven't had a drink at all this year?
Nah, all year. And the last time I actually drank properly was Christmas. Yeah. And I was in a float tank. I don't know if you've done one before.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I was actually in a float tank, and
so much stuff comes to you when you're in there, right?
Bro, I was having such deep thoughts. But I was laying in there, and that's when I started to think. Every time I drink after a fight, it just pulls me back. So I made a pact to myself then that I'm not going to drink till I win a world title. And so far, so good.
I think that's the thing I love about this float tanks, right? It just drowns out all the other bullshit.
Yeah.
So all your thoughts, it's just you and you.
It's just you and you.
A lot of people struggle with them because of that.
Of that.
And they try and block out those thoughts. But those thoughts, those things that are coming through, that's your subconscious way of telling you something, right?
For sure. And I feel like it's paid dividends in my career, and I should probably go do another float tank, see what else comes up.
100%, bro.
Because whatever comes up there, then you can sort of apply it to your life as well.
Yeah.
But I can see why people wouldn't like them, because stuff would come up in there.
Fronting as well,
yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah. And that's why I like it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So do you think you'll ever drink again? Like, is that something that's...
I will for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah,
so
I
it's
will
not like,
for sure.
I'm completely abstaining.
Nah, I will for sure. I miss it.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah. I know as soon as I drink, I'll be like, oh, this is shit.
Yeah. Well, you have to have that reminder, though, as to why we don't do it,
for sure. But I did say when I win a world title, I will drink. And it's
so you'll celebrate the world title?
Yeah, I'll celebrate the world title. And then I'll probably go back to not drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm a much better person in every aspect when I'm like this, when I'm not drinking. So I'm going to continue to do it, but I definitely will celebrate.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think you deserve to.
Definitely celebrate. Yeah, for sure.
So when you say you're a better person without the drinking, when I guess you were drinking, was there parts of yourself that you didn't like?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like it's almost a natural thing when people drink. The next couple of days you get anxious. Yeah,
Hugely.
Or in my case,
Second guessing things.
Exactly. In my case, I'm a dickhead when I drink. Yeah,
That makes two of us as well.
Yeah, and not so much I'll go out looking for trouble or anything. I would never do that. But I just probably say I'm very outspoken as a person, even when I'm sober.
Yeah.
So when I drink, it's next level.
Yeah, bro.
And then I wake up the next day, I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Or if I can't remember, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So then you get anxious about that. And then when you see the people that you were drinking with, you're like, oh, did I offend them in any way? Now I don't have that. Yeah, and I don't have that at all. I don't have that anxiousness. So it's just completely swiped that out of my life, and I'm happy with that.
Was there a pivotal moment for you that made you stop drinking? Was it more so the fact of, okay, you saw that, your performance wasn't where it needed to be because of fighting? Or
Yeah, well, to be fair, to start, it was just to do with fighting and just to progress my career. And then the further I thought into it, I was like, well, now I'm not getting anxious at all because I'm not drinking. I'm like, this is where I want to be in my life. And I feel like the productivity of everything is so much more when you don't drink. When you're drinking, you get lazy. Yeah.
He does, bro. And like
you get lazy.
that next day after drinking, it's like all the calories.
All that calories, bro. All that calories. So, yeah, not drinking has really made me just think a lot more clearer about everything. Yeah.
Man, I know that for me personally, like when it comes to drinking, like I'm not good for a couple of weeks.
For sure.
Like, I'm not hungover for long.
Yeah.
But the flow state that you get in for me when it comes to business, and I'm sure it's the same for you when it comes to fighting.
For sure.
You're in the zone. You're like, you know what you're doing. Everything's switched on. You have that one night, and I've actually got one of these nights coming up in the near future, and I'm like, I already know, like, I need to work as hard as I can now to be prepped for that, because I know that I'm not going to be in the same state I am now for a few weeks after that. And it's just like that few weeks after, it's like not like you're like you're a little bit depressed, like you're coming down, whatever. But it's you haven't got that same mojo, you haven't got that same drive to go hard at things, right?
And like even when you're with clients, you don't have that same energy as well. You know what I mean? And even James Matalich said to me this year, he's like, I've noticed your energy with clients has been next level.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's true because I do have so much more energy to give. Yeah, so I love it.
They say that you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
What else do you do for your cup, bro?
I do a lot. Like I meditate a lot. I do a lot of breath work. Like if you told me 3 years ago that I would meditate and do breath work, I would laugh in your face.
Bro.
I would be like, I'm not a hippie, but
that's one of those woo-woo things that people are a little weird, right?
Yeah, for sure. But it's not even like that. And the more in depth I get with it, the more I realize that you should be doing it your whole life. Tap into that subconscious mind non-stop.
That's what it's about, right? People think that this meditation is about, manifesting your dream life and all that sort of stuff. And like there's a certain degree of that to it.
For sure.
But it's literally like you said, it's unpacking the subconscious mind, which is something we don't get to do.
And like when I first started breath work, I did it with one of my mates. He showed me. And
was this like Wim Hof breath work? Or?
Yeah, it was just Wim Hof.
Yep.
And I did it, and I couldn't believe the feeling I had after it. I'm still chasing that feeling every time I do it. That first one was the best.
Yeah, and you never get it back, that same feeling.
You never get that same feeling again.
It's like skydiving or winning your first fight.
I could imagine,
winning your first fight.
Winning your first fight is the best feeling.
Hand getting held up.
Yeah, to be fair, that last one was probably the best feeling. Yeah, it's probably been the best feeling yet.
Yeah. Was that your first double man eliminator?
Yeah. I've been in an 8-man tournament, but I got knocked out. I didn't get knocked out, but I didn't win the second fight. Knocked out of the tournament in the second fight. But so that breath work, I feel like it just put me in a state of calmness. You know what I mean? And
just
then
like almost pure bliss, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And when you do your breath hold at the end of those 30 breaths, you're not worrying about anything else.
Yeah,
nothing. All you're trying to do is stay still. Be present, be calm. And that's what I really fell in love with. And ever since that first time doing it, I've probably done it a minimum of 3 times a week for the last 2 years. And then I started getting into meditation as well. And I do like meditating. I much prefer breath work, and I feel like they're sort of the same in a little way.
What helps you to achieve sort of thing?
Yeah. And then like I do breath work nearly every morning.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it at night as well. And then when I get a little bit more time, I'll sit there and do a meditation, just what I'm grateful for. And also I do a lot of manifesting to what I want in my life as well.
Okay, so when it comes to manifesting, what does that look like for you? So do you have like a certain ritual that you go through or like a certain process?
I do this sort of a guided one on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then they just talk to you and say, picture a time where you were really, really happy, and go back to that moment. Yeah, and you start to feel that happy emotion again. Yeah, you feel that same thing again. And then they say, start to picture something that you want. Yeah, something that you really, really want.
Is that the world title for you?
That's exactly. When I'm in fight camp, I don't think past that fight. So I just try to think about that one fight.
Yeah.
And I picture get my hand raised because you can't try to visualize what's going to happen in the fight because you don't know. It always changes.
Yeah, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Exactly. Right? So I always visualize walking out.
Yeah.
And then I always visualize get my hand raised.
Yeah.
And then it also just asks you what you'll be grateful for as well. Yeah. And visualize what you're grateful for, and then it's just a good constant reminder. Yeah, what you want in life, what you're grateful for, and everything like that. I love it.
I might even grab that link off and put it down in the bio.
Yeah, for sure.
For the YouTubers and for the people listening in, so they can start to attack that.
Yeah, easy.
So that's a pretty solid morning routine. Has that been something you've been doing for a long time, or?
For a little bit now, for maybe 2 years, definitely breath work every morning. I've been slack on the journal, I'm not going to lie, since my last fight. But anybody listening to this podcast, get one of Benny's journals.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, because coming up to that fight for 2 months, I journaled every day, every night. Yeah, and it's perfect because it sets intention on what you're going to do throughout.
Plug for the journal.
Yeah, mate, it's the best though because I've always thought stuff in my head of what I need to do for the day, but until you write it down
and unpack it, right?
Yeah, exactly. You unpack it and then you set intention and then you do it. Yeah. And if, for example, if you don't do it, which some days you won't do everything you intend to do, you sort of feel a bit shit. So then the next day you make sure you do it.
Yeah. It gives you that bit of accountability.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And like, even if it's just, I would write in fight camp, eat 100% clean. Yeah, for the day. And you're not going to eat something shit when you wrote it down in the morning. You know what I mean? You're not going to lie to yourself. And that played a big part. And another thing I would ask, what is your morning mantra? Now, this is probably a little bit off it for everybody else, but I would write every morning, I will win the 4-man tournament on Rise Championship. Every morning I wrote that for 2 months. Yeah. And that was my morning mantra. And I ended up winning it.
Here we are.
Yeah, I ended up winning it. So, yeah, I love that journal and I've got to get back to it. I've just been having a little bit of a mental reset.
Yeah.
And then I'll be back into it. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. No, I think the journal, just for me, like personally, I actually built those journals to be something that I wanted to use.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've had like business plans, I've had
I
never really bought everything all together.
That's I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like having a coach in your back pocket, right?
For sure. And the best thing is how you plan your next 7 days. That's a big thing. People go through not only their day, they go through their week, which turns into months, just floating through. Yeah. Just doing it as it comes. Yeah. If you can plan it, then you have a sort of a strict routine, you can follow it and you'll get stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when I'd plan my week, I'd write every little thing down, what I wanted to do that week. And then I'd always check back on it in case I've forgotten and I'd end up doing it. You know what I mean?
So your success with like kickboxing, your success is like in the PT world, all that sort of stuff. And where you're at right now, which I'd probably say is probably the best time you've been at in your life, right? Sure. You put that all down to the small things you do, like the habits and behaviors.
100%, those little 1%. Yeah, like I do a lot of funny stuff. Like, for example, one of my sponsors, he makes me tape my mouth when I sleep.
So you sleep, right?
Yeah, so you sleep so you only breathe through your nose.
Is that because you got a busted septum?
No, I can't actually do it now since I got my nose broken in the last fight. But I've got to be able to do it soon.
Yeah, because this is my nose.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can hear that on the microphone.
I'm the same.
And length from the bag.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, but like it's meant to be like doing breath work for 8 hours a night or however long you sleep for. Yeah. And if I can get 1% out of it,
that's the thing. It's a 1% habits,
1%.
Right?
Yeah.
This is where everyone gets like misconstrued. It's not the big things that you need to do.
Exactly.
It's all the little things that add up to that big thing.
For sure.
Right?
So I do a heap of those little 1% things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they accumulate to 10% over time, laughing. Yeah, that's 10% on my opponent that they don't have. Yeah. So I'm always looking for that little 1% edge. I'll hear something, I'll be like, oh man, I'll do a bit of research on it. I'll give that a crack. And if it works, I'll do it. Yeah. Yeah, if it works, I'll do it.
100%.
Always looking for the 1%.
This is the thing, right? Like it's not, like I said, the big things. It's all the little things that add up to getting you to where you are.
Getting
you to where you want to be. So for someone that might be out there that's like struggling with where to start, what would be like, I guess, an entry level thing that you'd be like, you know what, give this a crack. This is something that worked for me. Whether it be for fighting, whether it be for just self-confidence, whether it just be for overcoming a bit of adversity in their life. Yeah,
I'm going to resort back to breath work for here. Yeah. Because if you can control your emotions,
that's what breath work does for you.
That's what breath work does. Yeah. It sort of just calms you down. And then after breath work, you feel amazing. Yeah. So if you can just, for example, if you're facing adversity in life, your job, your career, whatever it is, and you can do breath work, it'll teach you to calm down. Yeah. And it'll teach you to respond to how you actually want to respond rather than just saying something off the top of your head. You might be angry and you just come back and say something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you'll stop and breathe, think about it, and then you can react how you want to.
Yeah. So it gives that actually a little bit of clarity.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a hot tip for anyone out there struggling
Yeah,
with anything.
yeah,
Get on the
for
breath
sure.
work.
Get on the breath work. I put a lot of people on the breath work. I don't know if they still do it, but
yeah.
I hope they do.
This is the thing. I think with a lot of people, like some things work well for them, some things won't sit so well. So it's about finding the things that work for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Like for me, like your morning routine sounds pretty dialed in, bro. And mine's very similar. Like I'll get up, I have a cold shower every day without fail. No matter where I am in the world.
That's the best, yeah.
Cold shower. And then I'll get up, I'll do my journaling, which includes my 3 points of gratitude. And that's the main thing I get out of it, is focusing on something you're grateful for. Because it's like that bit of positivity to start your day.
For sure.
And whatever you focus on is what you're going to get more of. And then I'll do breath work or meditation, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of the two of the other. And that's what works for me. It's about finding that small thing that works for you, right?
100%. Yeah, the cold showers are the best.
Yeah, you still get into them?
I'm not gonna lie. For the first 3 months of the year, I didn't have a hot shower. Yeah.
Really?
But
then again, the first 3 months of the year was pretty hot.
Yeah, it was. I've still been doing cold showers.
Yeah.
Not every shower.
Yeah.
Every shower I'll finish with cold, but like in the mornings, I'm like,
Yeah.
hot, then I'll finish with cold.
Yeah,
but they
fair.
are good. They are good.
Now, bro, before we finish up, one big question for you that I ask a lot of people that come on here. If you had all the money in the world, what would be the first thing that you'd do?
First thing I would do,
First thing that pops into your head.
I would go to Thailand.
Actually, that's one thing I do want to ask you about Thailand, training in Thailand. Man. What's that experience like?
Oh, I love Thailand. Like Thailand, no matter, like I haven't been that many places in the world. I've been to a few.
Yeah, but you spent a bit of time in Thailand, right?
Yeah, but Thailand's my favorite. Like the longest time I've spent there was 6 months.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, I'll go for a month, come back, go for a month. But it's just my happy place. You know what I mean? You go there, the national sport's Muay Thai.
Yeah, right up your alley then.
There's so many gyms there.
Yeah.
The weather's beautiful. Like if you go to Phuket, the islands are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to Bangkok, I love the city in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And just the Thai people are so friendly. You know what I mean? The food's awesome. I can't complain about Thailand.
Yeah.
It's my favorite place in the world. When I go to Thailand, I'm like, this is my happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love coming here. So if I had all the money in the world, I would go there for a long period of time.
If not forever?
Forever, for sure.
Yeah, sweet, bro.
Yeah.
Well, James, thanks for coming on, bro. Really
Thanks for having me, bro.
appreciate the chat. And we'll do it.
Thank you, mate.